Welcome back to the 30-day yoga challenge. We've got a really special one for you today. This is about slowing down, getting into a nighttime routine, yoga to improve your sleep. If you're anything like me, you have a high active life where you're doing a lot of things and you're busy. Or maybe you just consume a little bit too much caffeine throughout your day. You find your mind buzzing at the end of the day. There's some really basic behavioral things that we can do to help us slow down into a nighttime routine. What I highly recommend before beginning this process, and you may even want to use this yoga practice to do this, try turning any screen time that you have onto a night shift mode, pulling those blues out of the screen so that you're having a little bit more yellow, a little less stimulating, or see if you can avoid screen time altogether before bed. Maybe this yoga routine you can do before bed and then have a little bit of downtime. We're trying to avoid things like exercise before bed, definitely avoiding caffeine anytime later than the early part of the afternoon. And a part of what we're going to be doing today in this practice is learning how to slow down and pay attention to our busy minds. That might sound like the opposite prescription that you need when your mind is buzzing and it's taking you to different places. But what we want to do is pay attention to the things that our mind produces. Learn how to be in our bodies, set aside some of that difficult stuff so that we can focus on what's important. All right, let's get started with our day 14, trouble sleeping? Try this nighttime yoga routine. Let's start this practice by finding yourself in a comfortable seat, Sukhasana. Now, what we mean by Sukhasana, easy pose, this is meant to be a long-held meditative pose. We're not gonna hold it for too long. We're gonna get kind of rolling into this yoga practice, but here's what I want you to do. Sitting on the ground with your legs crossed. Now, you may need to lean from side to side in order to move the flesh away from the sit bones so you get a little bit more of a flatter seat onto the ground. If this is already causing some strain and some stress, which it very well might be, go ahead and grab a towel or a pillow and prop yourself up on it. What you want to do is have your pelvis tilted forward so you can sit nice and tall through the spine, but be tilted forward ever so slightly. Alternatively, if sitting on the ground is not accessible to you, I understand. You can sit on a chair with your feet flat on the ground, and let's just go ahead and place our hands on our laps. Take an inhale, press through the crown of your head, breathe in. Notice what you're feeling in this moment. Exhale, soften your jaw, soften the muscles around the shoulders. Let yourself be tall, but not rigid. Remember that even trees, with all of their height, they still have a level of flexibility to them. If they're rigid, they break. When the wind blows, trees bend with the wind. Allow yourself to be tall, but not rigid. Allow there to be flexibility in your posture. Let's find some length through the spine. And let's go ahead and stretch the legs out forward, maybe flop them back and forth, rotating through your ankles. You might wish to remove any of the blankets or pillows that you have supporting your body. With your feet flat in front of you, having your toes pointing towards you, let's see how much mobility we have here, reaching forward. Maybe wrapping your hands around knees, maybe around shins. Maybe you're able to fold forward so far that you're able to wrap your hands around the ankles or around the feet, drawing in. Whatever's accessible to you here, just having a little bit of, again, a forward fold. Breathing, noticing the sensations of being in this practice. Forward folds are a time to slow down and to draw our attention within. This is a great time to check in with you and take stock of how you may be feeling, any thoughts that may be on your mind, and to really connect with the sensations that you're experiencing in your body. When you're ready, putting some weight into your hands, coming back up, sitting up nice and tall. And wherever you're at in this posture, bringing some motion into your body, like a wiggle of the fingers, a rotation of the wrists. Maybe wiggle your toes, rotate through your ankles, maybe move the head from side to side. And we're going to come into a four-legged posture. And with your knees about a hip's width apart, I'm going to invite you to widen your knees just a little bit wider and press back through the sit bones, pressing your arms forward. This is what we call a child's pose. It may be difficult for you to rest your head on the ground, so you may need a pillow or any type of prop. Like, for example, I always find a blanket or a towel folded as a really nice prop to help me get some length in the spine. And that's what we're looking for here, is a nice long spine. You may wish to reach the hands forward, spreading through the fingers. Or you may wish, if you have a nice long spine here and you're feeling comfortable, you may wish to draw the arms back parallel to the body. The object here isn't for your hips to press all the way back and for your butt to make contact with your ankles. The object here is for you to find some relaxation in this posture, to feel some length through the spine, and to be in your body, to breathe and notice the sensations of being here in this pose. Breathing in, noticing if you can feel the breath in the low back. We spend a lot of time in meditation noticing the sensations of breath in the belly or in the chest, but notice where you feel the breath in the back. It may be especially easy in this posture where you're leaning forward with your head resting down. Come back to a flat, neutral spine. Stack the shoulders over top of the wrists. You want your fingers spread wide and planted down into the mat. Stacking your hips over top of the knees. We're going to be here for a while. If you're on a hard surface floor, you might want to try a yoga mat, or you might want to try a folded up towel or blanket underneath the knees to protect you. Even if you're on a yoga mat, it might still just be too hard on your knees. Remember, we're going for a sustainable model here, so why don't you go ahead and take the time to take care of you properly in this practice. I'm sure you're worth the investment. With the tops of the feet placed down onto the mat, you don't want your feet turned in too much or splayed out, so go ahead and line your feet up. Again, making sure that you're aligned with a nice flat spine, and just checking out your hands, checking out the knees, checking out the posture. Let's take a few breaths here to just be in this tabletop posture. Feeling the stability of having your knees and hands flat on the ground. Also, just being thankful for the feet, noticing that the feet even play a role in this posture, even though they're passive and just pressing down into the ground. Beginning just with the hips, we're going to turn the pelvis in, lowering through the belly, dropping the belly down, and then finally lifting the head up on an inhale into our cow pose. And keeping the head and the spine exactly where it is, begin by tilting the pelvis in, then following through the spine, lifting up through the spine, and last dropping the head, coming into your cat pose. Check in with your hands, spreading through the fingers to protect the wrists. On your next exhale, starting just with the pelvis, following through the spine, dropping down, lowering the belly, let the belly hang low. Finally, lifting through the head, the gaze comes forward into our cow pose. Take 2 more rounds of this on your own, moving with your breath. As we exhale, let's bring your hands down onto the ground, spreading wide through the fingers. We really want to protect the wrists here. Pressing the hands down into the ground. With the fingers spread wide, let's bend nice and deep through the knees so you can get your hands planted flat onto the ground. And gently beginning to step the feet back, maybe tiptoeing or maybe taking slightly larger steps, but don't go too far. Stepping the feet back so that your feet are planted on the ground and your heels don't need to be touching the ground, but we also don't want you up on your tippy toes. So the balls of your feet here are planted into the ground. Your toes are on the ground as you step back, but your heels don't necessarily need to be touching the ground. The hands are planted both on the ground, fingers spread to protect your wrists, and still with a nice deep bend in the knees here. Maybe pedal through your heels. Maybe bending through alternate knees, really exaggerating that bend, wagging the hips back and forth. Even experimenting here with the musculature of your arms, maybe even rolling the arms so that the eyes of the elbows face out, and then experimenting with how it affects your shoulders when you roll the arms back in. But we don't need to have a static downward dog here. We're just experimenting with down dog, bringing some motion into your body. Breathing here, slowing your downward facing dog down, noticing what it's like to be in this posture. Let's come down onto our backs. I'm going to invite you to lay flat on your back with your arms splayed out at your sides, palms facing up, and your feet splayed out. If you have any low back pain, you may wish to bring a bend to your knees, placing the feet flat on the floor, and experiment with the distance of your feet, maybe bringing your feet closer together, closer to the buttocks, further away from the buttocks. But allow yourself to find a place where you can take some stress off of your low back. You may also need to prop yourself up on a bolster or on a pillow in order to help with low back pain, and that again is okay. Here in this Shavasana posture, maybe lift your head up, lengthen through the spine, and then place your head back down on the floor. Allow yourself to feel your body being supported by the earth. And notice any places that you may be carrying tension. A place that I oftentimes carry tension, even though it's not going to help me through a single damn yoga posture, is in my jaw. I notice myself clenching my teeth and tightness in my jaw. So I'm going to consciously, as I'm sharing this practice with you right now, I'm actually going to make an effort to just allow the muscles around my jaw to relax, knowing that it's not going to help me teach you some of these foundational yoga postures today. Allowing your arms to go heavy. If your knees are bent, just allowing your feet to press down into the ground. Allowing any tension to drop out of the shoulders and out of the back. Wherever you find yourself in this Shavasana posture, just find some stillness. Breathe. Be with your body. Notice what it feels like to be in this posture. As we begin to end this practice, pause for a moment and reconnect with what it is that's important to you about doing this yoga challenge. And whatever shows up, my invitation to you is to be present to it. You may wish to maintain this posture for a few minutes after this video ends, but I'm going to take this opportunity to say thank you so much for participating in this practice. The light in me acknowledges and bows to the light in you. Namaste. I'd like to finish by saying thank you so much for sharing your energy with me on this practice today, being a part of this yoga challenge. Don't forget to hit the like button. It's super reinforcing to me, makes me want to make more of these videos. Hit subscribe and the bell icon to keep updated on these videos so that you don't miss any of them. And definitely share this with people in your world, because you never know who's going to benefit from this 30-day yoga challenge. Thank you so much. Namaste.